Hey everybody, welcome to episode 78. This episode I'm finally going to get to it. I'm wearing the shirt. Just got it out of the dryer not that long ago. I switched from Bounce to Kroger brand fabric softener, and it's weird getting to a new smell to get used to. Um, but anyways, shirt's right out of the oven, so got that on, and we're going to do Opus Eponymous finally. The album came, I've listened to it a couple of times, yada yada yada. It came fine. It was nice, packed up, double boxed, so no crazy issues like I had with the Ace Frehley solo album. So I was happy there. No need to even show the picture. It was fine. And I got the thing out, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty satisfied with this. One thing I gotta say about the shirt that I didn't like is I don't like this like chocolate brown in the logo. I like the album cover. I'll show you to you. The album cover is like a silver. I love silver, and that silver and that blue together look real nice together. And I think it goes the same thing with the blues and the little mansion too has like silver in it too. I think I like the silver and white with the blue and the black better than the shirt color choices. Maybe I don't know. They probably just wanted to put more color in it so it wasn't so drab, I guess. But or maybe the silver paint, but I bet silver ink, textile ink could be too expensive to do. I don't know. But I would have liked the silver better. But anyways, so we'll get on to this album. We've done a lot of stuff about old music. Let's do some new music again. New-ish music. Even though this album's 13 years old. It's new to me. Anything in the last, I'd say anything since 1991 to me is new music. So that just tells you where I'm at. Ooh, that hurt. Bang my knuckle on the metal railings of my desk. Anyways, my toe knuckle. So I'm going to plug it right away. So remember, like and subscribe this video if you like it. If you don't like it, hit the dislike. If you don't like it and you got a specific something to say, let me know. I said I open to all comments, negative. Don't be a dick, but at the same time, if you got something that's, you're like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, or maybe I like to see this instead, or I really didn't like the way you handled this. Let me know that. Don't just attack me for no reason. Man, you can. I don't care. It doesn't do anything to me. But I try not to do that to other people, even if I think they're a total, douche canoe. I usually don't tell them on their video, hey, you're a douche canoe, maybe I do. I maybe I've said that in the past, now that I think about it. But, anyways, like I said, write whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not going to block people. I'm not going to, take their comments down, leave their comments up. I'd rather be there for posterity than anything else. You can make fun of my stomach. You can make fun of my balding hair. Because even though my hair is sort of long, it's definitely, I don't have much left on the top. So, yes, I like to wear these headbands. And the reason I'm wearing this today is, as you can notice in the last few videos, I've been sick, but my rosacea has calmed down for a little while on my forehead. Now it's really kind of breaking out again on my forehead, so I just kind of want to keep it wrapped up so that I don't look like a scabby, leper in the video. So I threw the headband on. Other than that, let's dive into the album. I wanted to make a couple of shout outs. So somebody did send me a comment and tip me off to the band Angel. I did do a pretty deep listen, not a super deep listen to. I listened to the entire the 1975 album in its entirety, and I had a buddy listening to it at the same time. We're kind of bouncing off of each other, on Discord, and I didn't get through all of Hell of a Band, which I believe is their second studio album. It looks like they had studio albums from 75 to 79, and they had I think one live album, maybe two. And then, of course, just, radio silence for 40 plus years until 2019. They have a studio album with two of the remaining original founding members, lead singer and lead guitarist. So, it's they're pretty much the front runners of the band anyways, and they look like they have not aged, but aged severely. The guitar player, what's his name? Muddy Waters, and that's not what it is. Pocahontas, what the heck is his name? He's got a weird kind of name. The guitar player, he looks like my Aunt Patsy. If my Aunt Patsy had Botox, that's what he looks like today. He's really creepy to look at. Like very creepy. Like as I was watching an interview with them, current interview with them, and watching like a new, new concert footage or new live footage, and he just makes me giggle when I see him. I just start giggling profusely. I don't have anything against the guy, but he's like I said, his hair looks like my Aunt Patsy. He was being interviewed by this blonde woman, and he was more put together and more, what do you call it, more womanly than this blonde chick who was interviewing him. It was weird. And the lip thing, I mean, like, he's got like the Joan Rivers face. It's really weird looking. From this interview, it sounded like a cool guy, though. I mean, I was listening to what he said. He sounds like a cool dude. It's just crazy how he's talking about, this is a weird band. I know I didn't want to go too hard into this band. I just wanted to kind of mention them. But I thought that was very weird. It was just like, is this like a Spinal Tap band? I mean, it's like, I don't know if you've read, like, speaking of Ghost was like Ghost formed in like the late 80s, like it was part of the mythos, but they really didn't. And then they were laid dormant for years, and then they ended up coming out with the new album in the 2010, and reforming in 2006. The Angel seems to be the not fictitious version of that. Like, it's the real thing. Like, they literally were on top of their game in the 70s, and then just literally they went into a dimensional pocket and then just like people passed away, people left the band, people went on to other projects. There's a lot of behind the scenes that some of the band members had with a lot of like certain things throughout the 80s. But the band Angel itself, I read the thing about Gene Simmons discovering them and how he thought the white satin, outfits that they wore was heavy contrast to Kiss, having the all black. And I gotta say though, the music, I love it. I love that first album, Angel, is awesome. I mean, like, awesome. And that new 2023 album, what is it, Once Upon a Time? That's a kicker too. It's weird. It's like they never missed a beat. Like, it sounds a little bit newer, not as 70s as the first album, but at the same time, it sounds so close. It's just like, this is weird. It's really weird. I mean, it's like I gotta say, that's the whole thing. When I was trying to describe it to my one friend on Discord, he's like, what are you talking about? And I just kept giggling. I'm just like, it's so weird. You just gotta check it out. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just weird. And then he kind of got this towards the end. He's like, I get what you're saying. It is very weird. So check out the band Angel, Angel. They've got their albums on YouTube. They've got a new album out this year. Check them out. They're definitely, if you like the type of music I've been talking about, excuse me, check them out. They've definitely got that vibe. Again, I'm gonna keep listening to them. So thanks to you who to tip me off to them. I think your words were that they rule. Angel rules. They rule. I wouldn't say they're the best band, but I mean, they definitely kick ass. I really definitely like the band. So thanks for that. And they're on my. I've got all their albums now on my playlist. And I might even buy the new. I might buy the new album on LP, money permitting, but I'd actually like to get that first 75 album. I saw it on Discogs. You can get it for like $15 in very good condition. I'd like to get that one. All right, let's stop talking about Angel. Actually, I haven't even switched over to the screen here. So, yeah, so here's Angel. This is that album I'm talking about, Once Upon a Time. There's that first album, 75 album. It's just self-titled Angel, just like a lot of bands self-titled their first album. Yeah, check it out. It's crazy. I'll get into, if I really get into this band and I do some more, deep dive on it, I'll definitely talk more about it in the future. There's a lot of things. I just don't want to overshadow this video because I'm waiting kind of a while. Obviously, you guys know I've been waiting to get this stupid album for a while here. So, there's the album up there in the corner. Let me go back to the full screen. I'll show you the record. I was watching something. I was watching a thing on a thing. They're talking about hipster stuff and and vinyls being hipster and all this other stuff, vinyl records and stuff like that. And I'm sorry to say, I could see if I understand hipster mentality, right? I mean, I don't think they really exist anymore. I think hipsters kind of just evolved into the woke social justice crowd. Just seems that way. Like I don't see the twirly mustache, Like I said, I mean, it's like I've got a beard, sure, because I'm lazy and I don't shave. I also don't cut my hair because I barely got any hair left, and I just, I have better things to think about than cutting my hair and shaving. I have nowhere to be. I have nobody to impress. I have no, there's no events I have to go to. I don't have a girlfriend, to shave, to push my face up against. I don't like to shave and never have since I was a kid, and if I find any reason to not shave, I'm not going to shave. And if my beard grows to my knees, my beard grows to my knees. All I do is take a big pair of scissors and just cut it, so it doesn't hit the floor. I don't really put a lot. I mean, obviously I like my shirts, but I really don't put a lot of. There's nothing premeditated for the most part here, outside of, like I said, I put this headband on to cover my sores on my head. I put my hat on because I'm gone 3 days without washing my hair and it looks like crap. I put it in a ponytail. I can't do a top knot, even if I tried. I'd love to do a top knot. I'm not like a hipster top knot, but I'd love to do like a Gene Simmons top knot, and I wish I had a tongue that came down to here, and I had the Gene Simmons top knot. But yeah, there's no top anything going on up here except for sunburn, top sunburn. That's about the only thing that's going on up there. My hair is so thin. It always has been. I've never lost my hair here, which is good. It's all gone pretty much up here, which looks just as probably equally as bad. But my hair's always been, angel hair thin, and looks like I've always been losing my hair. But like I said, I said long hair and a beard to me I'm not trying to impress anybody with it. I'm just lazy. I don't want to clean myself up. So, but the thing about the hipster thing in the records, though, is, this goes to like the words like retro and vintage and all this stuff. Like I said, as you can tell, I was talking about having records in the 70s, right? I'm that old. And, and then when I got into records heavily into the late 80s because of that Sam's Jams place, it wasn't because it was hip. It was just, I just could get a lot of records for cheap. They were $1 a piece. You know what I mean? I could just go through and it's like, I couldn't do this on cassette or anything else. And they didn't have YouTube where you can just download and stream anything. I was just learning about all this stuff and finding all this cheap music. Every week I'd go and I'd come home with 5 or 6 of them, because they were $1 a piece. So, I wasn't trying to impress anybody with my vintage knowledge, or like that. And I like the sound of vintage better. I mean, I like the sound of vinyl better. It all depends on the recording. I mean, a vinyl could be recorded like shit, or the disc could be in shitty condition, and same vice versa. The digital file could sound like shit. It also all depends on the specific recording we're listening to. Like I said, that Ace Frehley album, I had to turn up to 65 to hear it in my headphones. That was the vinyl, but the digital copy was 100 times worse. It's on YouTube, so there's that too. Again, yeah, it's I don't know, the whole hipster mentality and all that stuff. I find, it's like, I don't know. That mentality, just all the different, like, whatever scenes or of people. Like I said, back in the day, here I go. Back in the day, we had just people. Like my dad was never trying. My dad didn't belong to a scene at 1983 at 40 years old, or even 1993 at 50 years old, which is what I am now. My dad wasn't like, oh, I belong to a scene. That stuff didn't exist. I mean, sure, there were scenes. Yeah, there was scenes since the, there was hippie scene in the 60s. There was the whatever, the beatniks and stuff. There were certain scenes, but most people, most adults, like all of our, all those Gen Xers and our parents, they didn't, nobody gave a shit about that stuff. Everybody's like, that's stuff young teenagers do. Nobody, for the most part, most people, adults, the average adult, and I would say that goes for today too as well. I mean, you just see it overabundance on YouTube or online. You see a lot of people, that are older, well into their middle age, that are all like, grasping, at being a teenager again. I am. I don't want to grow old. I don't particularly like the fact that I don't have that much time left on the planet, and if I've obviously I've got all my toys and stuff. I mean, I was happy in a certain period of my life, and and I choose to kind of live there now. Like I said, I'm at the age where I'm not trying to impress anybody anymore. It's just like you can sit there and people can say stuff to me all the time, like, hey, you might not want to, wear that, or you might not want to, say you're into that, or talk about that. It's like it's really gonna lower your chances of finding a girlfriend. I was gonna say something, but it might have been offensive. I've got a kid. I've done my biological duties as a human being. I've reproduced. I have a son, right? I've got a legacy. I've got what do you call it? I've been married and I don't like it. I've been in relationships, and outside of the sex, I don't really care to be in a relationship either. So for me to lower my chances of finding a girlfriend, or dying a lonely man, it's just like, who cares? I don't care. Maybe when I'm on my deathbed, I'll be crying at the, screaming at whoever's in the room with me as I'm dying and going, I wish I would not be alone. I don't know. You never know. I've never died before, so I couldn't tell you. I've never been that old before. I couldn't tell you how I'll react. But I mean, going into it, I'm not afraid to be single for the rest of my life. It'd be nice to find somebody that doesn't drive me insane, that I'm attracted to, but I'm not really worried about it. So back to me doing whatever I do, whether it's hipster this, or it's childish this, or it's blah 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 blah, or I'm living in the past, or whatever. I hate to look like a sociopath, but I could care less. All right, back to the album. Sorry. What are my rants? What's my video without a rant? At least I didn't go 20 minutes into it. I only went 18 minutes into the rant. Okay, so anyways, the album, Opus Eponymous, first studio album by Ghost. Great album. Is it my favorite of the albums I have so far? No. I gotta say, from the original time I listened to it, the first time I ever heard it, when I listened to it, before I had most of the albums, and then when I listened to it again on vinyl last night, I gotta say, I didn't feel like I was listening to the same album. And I know there's, it didn't have the punch that it first did when I listened to it. I'm sure it did. I mean, it had certain things about it, but I don't know, something weird about it that I found. I'll get into the review of the actual album here and my overall opinions of it, but just as a a primer here. It's not my favorite album by them. I can see why people like it. I can see why people might even be like this better than the newer stuff, and vice versa, which I'm more of a vice versa. But I'll get into the album too, and I don't mind. Maybe it'll be a little bit more clear. So I just wanted to show you. Here's the. No reason I thought that's a cool sticker. I'm sure it's got some weird, crazy zombie chick's tits on it, but I wanted to put that. I want to put that sticker on the sleeve, so I pulled it off the cellophane and I stuck it to the back there. Normally it would be on the front, but I just wanted to keep the sticker. I thought it was cool looking. And so, It's for the Rise Above Records thing. And then, you know, obviously I put the record in its sleeve 180 gram record, came fine, not a scratch on it, plays perfect. I didn't even need to, I normally hit that with that brush, that microfiber brush, like right off the bat, or the, whatever, yeah, microfiber, carbon fiber brush. Right off the bat, I hit it, you know, even the new discs. I don't wash it, I just hit it with the brush. I didn't even need to do that, it didn't have anything on it, so that was pretty cool. Here is the, again, I don't think this is a lyric sheet, is it? Maybe, or I haven't read it, but there's this dealio that comes with it. Am I holding that upside down? There's your liner notes. There's the sleeve. This is kind of a thick card. It's not really a paper. There's your back cover. Yeah, I got the sticker blocking some of it. It's got your track listings there. I gotta say, here's the thing. It seems like everything follows suit. Like, this seems to be raw and more primitive of artwork, and it just seems, and the thing is, it follows suit. The newer albums are, I find, a little bit too overdone, but they're definitely a lot more going on, and so is the music, has a lot more going on. And it's, again, I'll talk about that in the review here. So let's get on to that, because we're at 20 minutes, so I want to spend some time with this album. Maybe I'll just blow through it really quick, who knows, but let's go on to it. And again, as I keep telling everybody, I'm not going to play the album. I'm not going to play it and keep stopping it. You know, one thing I don't like when I listen to, like, people's reactions and stuff is I start listening to the song, and it's just like they always like, oh, I want to stop, and they stop it like right when it's like, oh gosh, you're going to stop right for the best part. You know, and then they just seem to miss the best part, and then they go, oh, so let me listen to it again, and then they just totally miss like the best part of the song. Or it's just like, I just feel like sometimes these reaction videos, it's like, are you even listening to it? Because it's like, you know something's coming, and you're not gonna like, oh, let's wait for it. Ah, there it is. All right, let's pause it. I mean, it's just like they just want to pause it like all at the worst times. It drives me nuts. So I'm not gonna do that. But the real reason I'm not gonna do that is I want to get a copyright strike. So again, if you want to hear these songs, just go on YouTube, type in Ghost, Opus Eponymous, and it'll pop up. Listen to the album. Everything I'm talking about is on YouTube for free. So just go listen to it. I suggest supporting the band. You know, if you like them, support the band. Buy their merch, buy their album. You know, buy it on CD, whatever. Download it, pay for a download if you like that. It really pointless to do that. I would either buy the CD or buy the album, the record. You know, do that for your collection if you want to support them. I mean, you know, like I said, they're not gonna keep just like myself. You know, with the artwork that I do, I'm not gonna continue to crank stuff out if I'm not gonna be compensated for it. Just like these guys, they're not gonna keep, you know, putting stuff out if nobody's gonna actually pay their bills for them, you know. So pay their, you know, you like their stuff, support them, buy their stuff, buy their merchandise, buy their product. They're selling a good product, my opinion. So, you know, that's definitely worth investing in it, I think, and helping them out so they have a career. You know, I mean, sure, you can say what you want about, you know, they don't seem to be. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into the band, really. I'm kind of sick of talking about bands and stuff and what people think about stuff. You know, is it metal? Is it not metal? Is this guy really a Satanist? Is he not a Satanist? What's a Satanist? All that stuff. I'm just like, ugh. At the end of the day, I don't really fucking care. All I want to hear is the music, and not just the music, but I mean, I want to see their show. I want to see their presentation. I was talking about my buddy, another buddy, same buddy. And we were talking about music, and he's the type of person who, he's like, I don't really care anything else about exactly just the music. And I can't say that. You could obviously know bands like Kiss and, you know, Ghost, which would probably be the more extreme bands of those, you know. Then you even get into Rush, or you get into Cheap Trick. Remember I said, I love bands that are larger than life. They're comic book characters. You know, they're a spectacle. They're a thing to see. You know, the music is great, if the music matches and the music's just as strong as their presence, I love that too. And the artwork, I'm an artist, so the artwork, the production, the whole total package, all of it to me is just one big thing. So that's what I focus on. Do I focus on the lyrics? No, I never have. Do I really focus on the story of a movie? I think I do like good storytelling. I definitely don't like bad storytelling, as which is exemplified in a lot of modern things where the stories seem to be shit, but the visuals look great. I like good storytelling, but I'm not, I don't sit there and dwell on it and want to know every possible thing about, like I said, there's a lot of Satanistic stuff in Ghost. Do I care about it? Am I a Satanist? No. Like I said, I keep saying I'm an apathetic agnostic. I don't know what to believe, and I don't like to talk about it because I just don't care, and it's more, it just aggravates me to talk about it with anybody. So I'd rather just not talk about it, and I don't care. But I'm not saying that I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I just don't know. So whether it's a Satanist band, who cares? If it's a Christian band, sometimes that stuff can be, I don't know, for some reason the Christian bands can be a little more annoying than the satanic bands. At least the satanic bands got cool imagery. The Christian bands usually don't have as great of imagery. But like I said, I don't listen to specifically something because it's a Christian band or because it's a satanic band or it's a whatever band, Scooby-Doo band or whatever. Let's get into the album here. So let's flip over to the album. Let's see. That's just my one screen here. Let's go to the album itself. So let's go start from the top. I'm gonna butcher all these titles because I can't read. Deus Culpa, I guess is the name of it. Deus Culpa. I don't know. Probably somebody's gonna say it with some twang to make it sound cool. One thing I noticed though, it's weird, is like in that one song on the second album where he says Satan instead of Satan. Hey, Satan! Right? Then he says Satan in some of this. Sometimes he says Satan. What's with that? Why does he pronounce it weird like that? That's one thing I noticed, is why is he pronouncing some of this stuff weird? There's a song called Elizabeth. Why does he pronounce it weird? It's Steen? Is it Frankenstein? Was it Frankenstein? Yeah. Why does he pronounce it weird like that? Is it just a thing? I don't know. I find that a little pretentious if it's a thing. If it's just really, I also find it pretentious too. It's just like, just like people be like, oh, that's how it's really pronounced in the old biblical. It's like, I've always heard the word Satan, right? Can we just call him Satan? I don't call him Satan. If it's obviously it's part of his shtick. It's part of his character. Part of his Papa Uranus or whatever his name is. I can't remember what his name is. Papa Epidermal. I don't know what the hell ever his name is. His Papa character, Papa Roach, Papa John's. Yeah, it's he's because he says you can hear him in his speaking voice when he's in an interview, and you can hear him when he's in his character voice. He has like a certain weird kind of strange draw to his voice. It's part of the characters. It's fine. It's just weird to me, but it's fine. So what do I say here? First album is I put burrowing. It's burrowing. I cannot spell either. The opening instrumental, Deus Culpa, I find to be boring. It's not a strong opening. That's why maybe when I was listening to it again, I was like, this is not a good opening. It's not very long. It's only 1 minute and 33 seconds. But it just seems kind of lackluster to me. I'm not yawning because it's boring. I'm yawning because I'm tired. Second track, Conclava Con Dio, Ronnie James Dio. Okay, I like that song. It's my notes I put down. The guitar tone is nice, which it is. The guitar tones on this album, and even on the second album, the first two albums have a really nice old school guitar tone to them that I like. They have more of a newer guitar tone on the newer albums, the more overproduced ones. But these first more two raw albums, and especially this one, the guitar tone is a little more. It's raw. It sounds like old Black Sabbath. Or just, I mean, not just Sabbath, but I mean, it just has an old song to it, but very heavily Black Sabbath. It's also very understated. I keep putting, a lot of the tracks, I'll keep saying this, is the guitar is very understated. The bass is off the charts sometimes. The bass tones, it's just like, oh, that sounds good stuff. It sounds very Geezer Butler, too, in certain times, so it sounds very Black Sabbath. But the guitar tone is very, like, it's not in your face. It's pulled back. And the solos, I say the word distant. All the guitar work is very distant sounding. Like, that sound of a Les Paul guitar, which I don't know if they're using a Les Paul, and I know they use that. A couple of those other, I know one guy uses a Strat, but I don't know about in this first album what they were using. But you get that Les Paul guitar, and then you play it, and it has a distant sound with like a big muff pedal. Or big muff pedals can be in your face, but if you play it a certain way, you have that very distant sound. I like that. And the guitars, like I said, even when the guitar is a driving riff, like a Black Sabbath riff, it's definitely not like Tony Iommi. His guitar is more pushed in your face. This is like, the guitar sits back a bit, right? The bass stands out. The drums are great. All the drumming in the album is outstanding, and it's spot on, and it doesn't have a annoying sound. It doesn't have that, like, he's not constantly double bassing. He's not constantly just playing lightning fast. The drumming just is perfect. I mean, it sounds like, what's his face? I can't remember the guy's name is. The guy looks like, what the heck does he look like now? I think he's dead. The drummer for Black Sabbath. It has his kind of drumming. Let's see, what else did I put in here? This song, yeah, the rhythm's very tripletty. And it reminds me, like I said, of non-galloping. Their Iron Maiden. There's the Iron Maiden gallops of dun 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 dun. Then there's a do 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 do. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the. I found that it's definitely a reoccurring theme in a lot of the songs in this album. I find it to be overdone a little bit. And it's weird how, and they seem. I don't know what key they're in or what I haven't really done that far close of a listen, but whatever note they're picking, or whatever key they're in, whatever note they're staying on, they're doing the galloping, or that key is. They don't do a lot of chord progressions in their verses in these. They save those more for the choruses, and I'll get to the choruses later. But they do a lot of not galloping, just do 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 the pick and then it has, and then all the vocals seem to just be playing like half notes, like na 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 na. They kind of have that sound to it the whole time. And it sounds cool. I think it's a little overused. I think it's like something that they liked, and they really, you can tell the band and tell, Tobias really likes that sound. But I think they used it just a little bit too much. They could have pulled back on that, or maybe added a few more chord progressions to the verses. I'm not saying they're all like that, but it just seemed kind of heavy in that regard. I like the keyboard work isn't really big strings. I mean, there's some Moogie stuff. There's some Moogie stuff in certain spots. A lot of organ, a lot of mellotron. I don't know if there's much mellotron in it, but definitely a lot of organ stuff in here. Let me pause right there. I'm going to rant for just a second. What is it with Nord Stage 3 keyboards? Are they just giving them away? They're $5,000 keyboards, right? Do they just give them to everybody? Because everybody has one. Every new band seems like, if you see any new band playing Nord Stage 3, if you see anybody on YouTube, it's like, I just learned how to play yesterday, and I started my YouTube channel 2 days ago, and I already have enough money to buy in the Nord Stage 3. Either you got really rich parents, you're rich in general, or they're just giving you. It's like, it's, swear to God, it's just like, it seems like they're just giving, I want one. Give me a Nord Stage 3. You know, it seems like they're just giving them out to everybody. You know, I messed with one a little bit at Guitar Center. Like, nice keyboard. But it's definitely become like the industry staple. Everywhere I see, and obviously I didn't know what it was until I learned about what it was, and so I learned about it. It was like a car, you know, oh, that model of car. Once you see it everywhere. Everybody's got a Nord Stage 3. It doesn't matter what genre music they're in. They're in hip-hop, they're in metal, they're in, you know, rock, they're in whatever, you know. They're just a kid in his bedroom playing, you know, on a keyboard, you know, while he's doing his Minecraft reaction videos. It's like everybody's got a Nord Stage 3. It's a $5,000 keyboard. Even on sale, it's still going to be like $4,000. It's like, Jesus Christ, does everybody have that kind of money? Sorry, that was my rant. When I thought of keyboards, that was my rant. But I'm sure they're not playing, maybe they are. I don't think they're playing Nord Stage 3s on this one, but definitely I can hear some Moog. I can definitely hear a lot of organ. And I think it matches well. I would say, you know, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath really didn't have a lot of organ work in it, obviously. So if you were to take Tony Iommi's guitar, pull it back a bit, push the drummer and push the bass player, push Geezer Butler out more on the front, right? Take Ozzy, and you got to take him right out of the band because he doesn't sound anything like Ozzy, Tobias, or Papa, whatever. But take Iommi and pull him back a bit, push the bass and the drummers forward, and then add in more keyboards, specifically organs and Moogs, and that's the sound this album has. So, like I said, I think the second song's interesting. The third song is probably my favorite on the album. I don't know why this wasn't the single. I don't even really know if they really had a single at the time, but it says here on the Wikipedia page, I still haven't printed it out yet, it says that the single off this album is Elizabeth and Secular Haze are the two singles off this album. Oh no, not Secular Haze. Oh, is it just Elizabeth's only single? I thought there was a second single on. I thought Satan Prayer was a single. Maybe not. Okay, I guess Elizabeth is the only single off this album. So yeah, I think Elizabeth is fine. I think Ritual would have been a better. It's just kind of. They both have pretty catchy choruses, but I think that the Ritual has a better chorus. I just think it should have been the single, not the other song. Like I said, and one thing that's nice on this, and they don't seem to do it as much on the newer stuff, but these older albums, they really take advantage of the stereo panning. You know, when you listen to them, let's say you're in the headphones, and it's like, okay, the bass is over here, drums are back here, the guitar is, like I said, pulled back in this. It's like, guitar's like right here, like you're holding it close to your chest. Like you're not pushing it forward right against the people. And then vocals kind of, they go over the top, or sometimes they kind of screech back and forth. Keyboards kind of stereo pan. Everything's got a very full, open sound to it that moves around the room. And I like that. The newer stuff doesn't. Most newer stuff seems to be more straightforward. I would say that these two albums, and specifically this one and yes, the second one, they are headphone. Definitely, let's 70s. I mean, they're headphone albums. These are the type that you want to sit with the headphones and listen to. The other ones you can play, louder through speakers, play them in the car, sing along. The newer albums, with all the big hits that are out there, the ones that got super popular, the very over-the-top ones. But these older albums, these first two albums, are definitely headphone music. It's the only way you're really going to appreciate it, I think. But like I said, the other thing is Ritual. Ritual also does sound. It does sound like a little bit like Black Sabbath. Bass is heavy, guitar is pulled back, but one thing it definitely sounds is it sounds like Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth. It sounds... It just has that sound. It says the rhythm sounds very Symphony of Destruction. Listen to it. If you don't know the Megadeth song, listen to the Megadeth song. You probably know it, though. Listen to the two songs back to back, and you're like, alright, that sounds very Megadeth, Symphony of Destruction. Now, that was one of their more commercially successful songs. I think it's their most commercially successful song, Megadeth. So it stands to reason why, if you're gonna borrow any Megadeth stuff, I would definitely borrow some Symphony of Destruction. Oh, another pause. The band Angel I was talking about, you know, everybody thinks Greta Van Fleet sounds like Led Zeppelin, and they do in certain songs. I'm not a huge Greta Van Fleet fan. I gotta listen to them more, but I don't know. Something about them rubbed me the wrong way, and I can't put my finger on it. But if you listen to that first Angel album, holy shit. The Greta Van Fleet guy's gotta be listening to Angel, because just the way he does his runs, I mean, sure, his runs sound very, this is the Greta Van Fleet guy, sound very, his name's Josh, they sound very, Robert Plant, but they also sound, I think they sound more like Geddy Lee, but they're a lot more, Geddy Lee doesn't have a huge range, even though Geddy Lee used to be able to go up real high. Geddy Lee just kind of, he goes up high and he comes back down. You know, this guy's got more of a range than Geddy Lee, but he has that Geddy Lee more nasally sound. But if you listen to that first Angel album, holy crap, I'm telling you, it sounds like, and that came out in 1975, before this kid was even a fart in the wind. So, you know damn well that he had to have been listening to the Angel. I mean, their whole big shtick is they love the 70s, and they're all in these 70s, and definitely they're trying to go for their own kind of glam 70s look, glam rock look. So, and he plays with the Nord Stage 3. Anyways, but go listen to that first Angel album, and you'll hear the vocal runs like the guy does in Greta Van Fleet. All right, back to this album. Sorry about that. It just popped in my head. The Elizabeth song, on the other hand. Oh, I'm going to say the other thing about the chorus and Ritual is great, and it does have a very 60s sound. It's weird. It goes from like Symphony of Destruction to like it goes to like a doo-wop kind of 60s kind of surfer music. It's really weird dichotomy. I use the word dichotomy, yes. So anyways, let's see, Elizabeth, yeah. So that's the single off the album. It's good. I don't dislike it. I think Ritual should have been the single instead. It sounds very, Elizabeth sounds very early 90s metal. I got like a Prong vibe. I haven't heard Prong in forever. But for some reason, I'm just trying to put my finger, what's that sound like? And there's that song by Prong. I can't even half mumble it. I can't even remember how it goes. But there's a Prong song that was big. Probably the biggest Prong song. And not that it was big, but I just remember it in the early 90s. And that's what that sounds like. It sounds like Prong. So the chorus is nice. I just think it's weird when he pronounces it Elizabeth. I just get like the cringy vibes when I hear that. Ruffles my feathers when I hear him pronounce things. Satan. Elizabeth. Man, I am like falling asleep here. I don't know what the heck happened to me. I gotta do a grocery list and go grocery shopping today. I have to get on the ball here. I have grocery shop. I don't know about you guys, but every time I walk into a grocery store, I have just complete, apathy. I'm just like, I don't like anything. I'm either so starving I could chew my own arm off, or I don't like anything on the menu. I'm now in between. So I go into a grocery store, I'm either starving and grabbing everything I see, or I just don't want to be there. I'm just like, I don't want anything. I'm just sick of making food choices. That's one thing, not saying I want a woman to cook for me, but I'm just saying is if you have somebody else that you live with, who and you're eating together most of the time, that person, can you just make the food decisions? Don't pick anything I don't want to eat. I'll give you a list. These are the things I don't eat. You could pick anything else. Just you make the food decisions for me. You could ask me what I'm in the mood for, but a lot of times I don't know what I'm in the mood for until you've already ordered the food, and then suddenly I'm in the mood for something else. It's probably why I don't live with any. It's probably why I'm going to stay single the rest of my life. I'm weird. But anyways, I like the distant guitar soloing is awesome in this song too. All of it. It's all wherever it shows up. I like it. But in this one, it's really good. The time changes are great. There's a lot of time changes in the songs. Obviously, it goes from like a certain beat to like another type, total different genre twist. But it's not overdone. It's not. They're not changing. Doesn't seem like they're changing time signatures just for the sake of changing time signatures. I find that a lot of people, especially music snobs, and a lot of these people like the progressive metal and stuff. It's just like, okay. It was a thing, sure. Yes, progressive rock, they would have a tendency to play odd time signatures and switch time signatures in songs. Rush is notorious for it. Yes is notorious for it. Yes, sure. But it's almost like people nowadays, it's like, I'm progressive. I'm a progressive metal band. Okay, what do you mean? Oh, well, I change time signatures every 5 seconds, and I play the oddest time signatures. Okay, does it sound good? Doesn't matter. Just the fact that I change time signatures and I play odd time signatures everywhere and I change it every 5 seconds, that makes me prog. Okay, but does your music sound good? Yeah, of course it does. Listen to it. It sounds like shit. It sounds so terrible, right? It's just I don't like people who just like. There's a lot of music nowadays. It's just everything seems to be so self-aware yet not self-aware. And it's just like everybody's trying to flex all the time. I mean, the flexing that's going on in the snob, in the the arrogance and snobbery of elitist musicians, and flexing on everything. Everything's got to be lightning fast solos. Everything's got to be lightning fast bass. Everything's got to be lightning fast drums. You got to put as many time signatures in the song as you buy. You make the song so unlistenable, right? That only you like this music, and then there are a degree of people out there that do like the music, which is why they have their popularity and their success. It's mind-boggling to me. Yeah, I find it horrendous, and it's just my opinion. And call me an old fart, that's lost touch with the times or whatever is trending or popular, but I don't like it. I mean, this is a trendy band. This Ghost is a popular band. I don't like them because they're popular. I like them because I was looking for something new, so I don't totally just go back into a time period and totally ignore any new music and basically just give up on new music altogether. I wanted to, it's like it's whether it's comic books, movies, it's like, give me something to make me think that this is not over, right? I'm desperately searching for something to breathe that life, put that on life support and tell me tell me that this isn't over. Tell me rock isn't dead. Tell me that, whatever, comics aren't dead. Tell me something's not. Give me something. And this band, I find, has given me, at least so far, that breath of fresh air. And I don't care that they're popular. I don't care that people hate them. I mean, a lot of people seem to hate them too. It's just like, all right. You know what I find when it comes to people, right? And that's the operative word. No matter if these people hate this style of music. These people hate this style of music. These people think this style of music's the best. This person thinks this person's religion's the best. This person thinks this person's political thing is the best. This person thinks that this person's, wine is the best. You know what the problem I find with all of that is? There's one operative word. People. People are behind all that, right? It's not anything right. I find people just to be problematic in general. If it wasn't for as Randall said in Clerks, this job would be awesome if it wasn't for the fucking customers, right? Same thing with fandom and all this stuff. The world would be a better place if it wasn't for the people. But I digress. Let's get back to this. Let's stay on track. Let's try to get into angry land again. Got to keep the blood pressure down. Stand By Him. I said I like the guitar sounds. The guitars actually sound like Accept. They almost sound like, I haven't heard a lot of Accept, but I know like Balls to the Walls and stuff like that. It just has a very like Accept sound to their guitar in the opening of this. And this song, I think particularly, his voice comes across a little too nasally in this. It doesn't have that big full sound that he has in his more polished stuff. Here it comes off a little, it almost, this is what I put in the notes. Certain times I'm listening to this album, it almost sounds, this is why I keep thinking like Spinal Tap, or just a parody. Sometimes I keep thinking, is Weird Al singing this? It just, he kind of goes in, Weird Al has that way of singing, and he's doing it because he's Weird Al, and he's trying to, he's doing the Weird Al thing, but sometimes I feel like Tobias sounds like Weird Al. It's just like, I don't know, just too nasally, too wormy sounding, too geeky sounding, too like, I mean, trust me, my voice sucks. My speaking voice sucks. As you know, I got like this weird, high-pitched, weird, hey, how you doing? And sometimes it's just like, it's off-putting to myself when I hear it. Like, so, trust me, if you're cringing when you hear me hit these weird high voice things, trust me, my internal self can hear it too and is ready to kill itself. So, I'm no stranger to having a shitty sounding voice, a very abrasive sounding voice that, not a lot of people like. I don't have that nice, soft, deep voice that's very commanding and present, masculine. My voice is all over the fucking place. And my singing voice is horrendous, trust me. I can sort of sing in key, but I have no range. So, obviously, my kudos is off to anybody who can pull off. I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, but I find that on this album, his voice is a little too wormy. I don't know, I guess it's too wormy, I guess is the word. Is too geeky, too nerdy, too hey guys, I'm cool, aren't I? Yes, Worms, or you're cool. Let's go raid the Pies, or whatever were they the Pies? Who were the Revenge of the Nerds? Who was the sorority that they went and they set up the cameras in? They're the Pies, weren't they? That's my pie. Sigma Pi? They were Sigma Pi. I think that's what it was, the name of their sorority. And Worms are, you get it. All right. If not, just go watch Revenge of the Words. You'll get it. Revenge of the Words. Revenge of the Nerds. Where are we at? Satan Prayer. Like I said, I thought Satan Prayer was and he says Satan in this. He doesn't say Satan. Which is like, huh? I thought this was the other single, but it's not a single. It's very heavy, very Geezer Butler bass in this. And the Moog sounds really cool. He moogs out and totally spazzes out on the Moog a few times, which sounds nice. And the chorus, like I said, the chorus though isn't as hooky. Like I said, this album, you can definitely tell. You can see the framework. You can see the girders starting, the foundation laid for these crazy over-the-top hooks and choruses and melodies as they progress into the newer albums. You can tell it's here because most of these songs, the choruses are pretty good. I heard, what was it? Don't bore us, get to the chorus. I thought that was funny. So I just heard that. So yeah, don't bore us with these, get to the chorus. And this one bores us before it gets to the chorus. Yeah, the chorus in this one, I didn't find it as hooky. I was like, Again, maybe that's why it wasn't the single. I thought it was like the single at first, and then I was like, it would make sense that it's not. Because definitely Elizabeth, just like Ritual, they both have really good choruses, so that would make sense. The closing, is it the closing? No, we're not here yet. Okay, Death Knell, what are we doing on time? 53 minutes? Death Knell, love the bass on this. This is track 7. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's now he pronounces Satan normal. In Death Knell he does too. He pronounces Satan normal. Normalism, that's what I consider normal. So the chorus in this one you start to pick up on like that 80s new wave, more hooky choruses on this one as well. And then, like I said, the keyboard outro is cool. It sounds like, when I heard the keyboard outro, was the keyboard outro? I think it was the keyboard. Yeah, the keyboard outro to this sounds like Rock and Rule soundtrack. I know they didn't have a soundtrack, but if you listen to the soundtrack, and especially when they're that part, when they're showing like I'm trying to think, they're talking about the concert being at the power plant, and what's her face talking? I don't know. Nobody seems to be buying these "I survived the mock concert" T-shirts. That's such a great line. But as they're going through, you're like, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like that in the end of the song. Prime Mover. I thought it accidentally hit on Rush's Hold Your Fire album. There's a song called Prime Mover in there. But anyways, I think it's on Hold Your Fire. That or it's Power Windows, one of the two. But it's not the song. The song's called Prime Mover. I don't like the intro guitars. The one guitar, out of the dual guitars, the one's okay. I think it's playing diddle 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 diddle, but then the one's just it's too high and too. I don't know. I just don't like the one guitar. It doesn't sound right to me. I find that the Prime Mover sounds a little bit like nu metal. It's got like those nu metal hooks, which I don't like because I don't like nu metal. I never liked nu metal. I was forced to go to nu metal stuff as a whatever age I was, late 20s or mid to late 20s. I had to go listen to nu metal just because I was with the girlfriend that loved all that stuff, and she was 8 years younger than me, and she was all into it, and I was all into her, at least parts of her. But she was, her and her brother, they loved the nu metal, and I had to go to the nu metal concerts, and I was just like, oh, I hate this music. But yeah, this song kind of has a nu metal sound to it a little bit. Like I said with this one, sonically, I'm not digging this song. Prime Mover I wasn't a big fan of. Didn't live up to the Rush name. I said it sounds a little bit. Here's the other thing. This sounds a little bit like track 2. Too many of those triplets. That goes on a little too long. I think they needed to scale that back a bit. Like I said, these are minor critiques. These aren't major critiques. Overall, I like the album. I found if I can't even critique the songs, that means I do not like the album. If I can't listen to it, it doesn't even need to be critiqued. I quote Spinal Tap, Shark Sandwich. My 2-word review for that would be shit sandwich. Genesis, track 9 is the closing instrumental. There's a track 10 on a special edition. I don't have the special edition, but track 9 is the instrumental. I thought it sounded like Boston, the not that the bass part didn't, but it just has that sound like Boston, like they're gonna break into "It's been such a long time," but they don't. Instead, they break into something else. But the guitar lead though sounds nice in this one. I really like it. It almost sounds like it sounds like soundtrack music as well, but it also sounds like almost like Tangerine Dream 80s soundtrack, or even Jan Hammer, almost like Miami Vice stuff. It just has like a cool, it has a really cool guitar hook in it for the solo, because it's an instrumental. It's not really even the solo. I think it's just more of the higher melody being, instead of vocals, playing the higher melody with the guitar over the rhythm, and I think it sounds great. I think that part's, it's such a stronger instrumental than that first opening's instrumental, track 1, Deuce Culpa. That just sounds like a throwaway. It's just like that doesn't even need to be on there. They could have put Genesis as the opening instrumental, and then just put like that 10th missing track from the special edition. Just put a throwaway at the end of the album. I think that would have been stronger. Because instead, the very first song off the album I find is a throwaway. But yeah, Genesis would have really set the tone for the album, and like this is what you're getting into. And I think that would have been cool. The snare drum is that metronome. I love that. But you always got that. Not the bass drum as the metronome, but that counter hit, that snare drum metronome sounds really cool. Let's see. And at the very end, it gets very acousticy. It gets very prog rock, and it starts sounding like Yes towards the end. And I'm wondering, because of the way that they went in the second album, if that Genesis, like Cinema from Yes, right? That Cinema was kind of a prelude into what would become, Cinema was, we're done with drama, and we're going to go in, we're moving into 90125, and so Cinema is that prelude into it. And this Genesis, and it even has this, as a prog rocking sounding name, Genesis, like the band Genesis, it sounds like a prelude into what will become the second album, which is a lot more heavy into the prog. I think a lot of people, what I heard is they loved the first album, it broke huge, and they loved the sound. They probably liked the heavier Black Sabbath sound, and then when it went proggy, it went more Yes, more experimental in the second album. I think that's when people kind of, the criticism, people are like, oh, they changed their sound too much, they went too prog. As you know, I love prog rock music, right? I love Black Sabbath too, but I'm a sucker for prog. So I think, as far as these two albums, hands down, second album is a lot better than the first album, in my opinion, and it's because of my taste, So I can understand the criticism because they did make kind of a jump. But I like the jump. And here's the thing. I was having the same conversation last night. And I said, what does progressive rock mean? I don't even consider progressive metal a thing. But progressive rock, your typical classic progressive rock, right? What does that mean, right? And the thing is, to me, progressive rock doesn't mean odd time signatures. It doesn't mean virtuosity. All of those things are all play into it, right? Well, this is what I find, like, I wouldn't even, if I was in the 70s and I was going to Yes and Rush concerts and stuff, I wouldn't have called them prog rock. I don't know who called them prog rock. I don't know if the Rolling Stone or some, music journalism called them prog rock, because I'm sure they didn't call themselves prog rock. Prog is short for progressive, right? What does the word progressive mean, right? It means to progress, to change, right? You hopefully change for the better. Sometimes you change for the worst, but regardless, there's a change. That your intentions is altruistic. Your intentions are high. You want to be able to, let's change this. Let's incorporate different sounds. Let's explore our own, musical talents and our own musical tastes, and let's progress. Let's take the first album, like this one, that has sets of mood, sets of sound, sets of precedence, and let's go, by the second album, let's progress into something different. I mean, Rush did it. Rush went from that first album into, say, like Fly By Night, Caress of Steel, and then, of course, the 2112 hit. But then, as you notice, Rush also started to progress. You got Hemispheres, you got Moving Pictures, you're going into the 80s now with Signals, Grace Under Pressure, early 80s stuff, and then that progresses even more so. Some people claim for the worst. I like it personally, but into Power Windows, Hold Your Fire, and then they progressed again with Presto, which is supposedly the worst album of all time, also one of my favorite Rush albums. But and then by Dreamline was kind of, it had a different sound to it, and then Counterpart's different sound, and they progressed. So I consider a progressive rock band as a band that's been around long enough to have at least a larger catalog of albums, and have gone through change taking places, Put Yourself to the Ground. They've gone through changes from their inception to where they currently are way down the road. It could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, it could be 30 years, it could be 40 years, it could be 50 years. But they've progressed. Like Rolling Stones, I find, have never progressed. Aerosmith has never progressed, really. You fill in the blank. Think of bands that have, icon top A-tier listing bands that have a specific sound, and they really haven't progressed much, right? But you got bands like Rush does not sound anything. Their last album does not sound anything like their first album. Yes, first album, second, last album, or newest album, whatever, does not sound like anything. And they've gone through many changes in between. To me, that's a progressive rock band. And, it doesn't have to have virtuosity. It doesn't have to be in-your-face, crazy time signatures. It could start out a simple rock band, simple 4-chord rock band, and then maybe towards the middle they're into like synths, and they're all synthwave, and then maybe they break up from synthwave and they go into something that's a little bit more harder than rock. You know, they're going a little heavier. You know, dare I say it, they go into something, you know, like a speed metal or something like that, and then they kind of pull back. Blue Oyster Cult. Blue Oyster Cult's first few albums sound nothing like their later stuff. They've progressed. You know, they went from they transitioned from the 70s to the 80s. You know, and there's a lot of those bands that transition from the 70s to the 80s. Now, if you look at that band Angel, right, they didn't seem, I wouldn't call them a progressive rock band in the traditional sense, because their newest album in 2023 sounds just like the first album. I like it, but it doesn't sound like they're pretty much, you know, the two guys might have changed over time, but they don't look like they look like they literally went through a time, they were, you know, frozen on a block of ice somewhere. So I find that to be a non-progressive band. So people's definition of progressive rock are a lot of different things. And I like the musical journey, and especially if they can bring all the total package along with it. So again, I can't just listen to the music and go, oh, I'm just totally into the music, right? I got to have the album covers. I've got to have the direction of the band. I got to have the total package, the visuals, you know, the characters that are larger than life. And maybe they get even larger, or maybe they pull back on the larger, you know, like Kiss taking the makeup off. I didn't like that. I liked them with their makeup on. So I got to wrap this up. So anyways, my closing on this album and my whole shtick here, because I think it pertains to these albums, is these albums sound different, you know, and I find that Ghost has already been around for 13 years, you know. And this is like listening to Rush in 1975, and then suddenly it's, you know, 1989, 88, 89, and, you know, they're on their Show of Hands tour. That's the time frame that Ghost has gone through. So, and they've got 5 studio albums. You know, obviously there's a pandemic in there, kind of threw a monkey wrench and everything, but, you know, I think that they've changed. You know, some people don't like where they've gotten to. Some people maybe just don't like them because they've come more mainstream and popular. Like I said, I pay attention to none of that, because trust me, I don't know what's popular, and I don't care, and I don't really care. You know, I see stuff that's considered popular, and I've tried to listen to it. Well, maybe not tried, but just, it was forced upon me at some point. And I was like, what's this? Oh, I don't like that. And I usually don't make it more than a minute into the song, you know, or a song into the album. It's like, I'm done. Like, I can't listen to Billie Eilish. I can't listen to whatever, any of the top 40 stuff. You know, I think they made it into the top 40, but I can't listen to that stuff. I don't like hip-hop. I'm sorry. You know, and I don't like, you know, I don't mind some rhythm and blues stuff, like older stuff, you know, rhythm and blues, but I don't like, you know, whatever's considered R&B nowadays. You know, it's not for me. I just don't like it. And so, you know, and there are some characters. I mean, obviously, like Kanye West, he's a character, all right. I mean, there's, you know, even Billie Eilish, she's a character. You know, she's constantly with her nosebleeds and her weirdo-ness, right? I just don't like that character, you know. I just, you know, it's definitely an extreme, and she's got, you know, all those people got like an overall image that wraps into their music, but I just don't like that image and that stuff. I like the Ghost guys, and, you know, I like whoever the, you know, the ghouls are at that time. I like the ghoul concept. You know, I'd like them to be a little bit more transparent as far as who they are, you know. You know, the whole Kiss thing, I guess, can get tedious with the, you know, hiding their identity stuff. Just whatever. I mean, Tobias came out, you know, and showed his identity from the Papa character. I can still appreciate your character that you create and still know who you are too, you know. Yeah. So, do I recommend this album? If you like Ghost and you're just getting into them, yes, I say it's definitely worth listening to. You might maybe not want to buy it for the collection unless you've got to have all the Ghost stuff. Then sure, buy it by all means. But if you don't, I would say listen to it. If anything, you know, if you know, obviously, I'm not. I'm just talking to the wind when it comes to people that are diehard Ghost fans. So they like Ghost for whatever, wherever they like it. It might not be the same reasons I like it, you know. But yeah, so I had to wrap this up here. Not only have we gone over an hour, my voice is falling apart. I gotta get something to drink. But yeah, sorry. So I finally got the album, and I got it. Only one I'm left now is Meliora, which is the third album, and I'm interested to own it. And I mean, I've listened to it, but I'm interested. You know, I want to do a more deep dive, and that's the last one of the 5 studio albums until the 6th album comes out, and I'll have them all on vinyl. So, you know, I'll eventually go back and get like the rest of the EPs. Especially like Popestar, just got Square Hammer on it. If you have a Ghost, I don't have to have it, but I'll probably end up getting it. And then that live album, what's it called? Ceremony something, blah, 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 blah. Ceremony and Devotion. That double live album. I've heard it, I like it. I'll end up probably getting it at some point. Like I said, I like to have the whole discography on vinyl. I just like to have it. If that makes me a hipster, then fine, I'm a hipster. That's fine. I know. Sorry. I'm still reeling off the hipster comment. I know it's probably meant as a joke, and that's fine. I don't take offense to it. I just think it's funny, just because I know me, right? And I know how much hatred I have for a lot of things. And hipsters are definitely one of the things I had a lot of hatred for. And you know, but at the same time, you know, I could see certain aspects of things that I do to be hipster-esque. You know, just like, you know, my one buddy, the Ruther buddy, he still calls me a poser for liking Ghost. He's like, you're a poser, you like Ghost. I'm like, how am I a poser for liking Ghost? He's like, I told you about that band before. You just like them because they're popular now. It's just like, I didn't know about them. And if you mentioned them, I never pay attention to what he says anyways, right? So, and it's not just him. A lot of people tell me. So my other buddy, you know, the guy I talked to, the other guy, you know, and even the gifting friend, you know, sometimes people tell me stuff and it goes right in and you're right out the other, you know, and it's just, or I'm stubborn and I don't want to take a chance and I'm just like too close-minded, because I'm a very close-minded person, trust me. I'm not that open-minded. And, you know, so obviously you got to discuss, you can't help the fact you're not aware of something until you're aware of it. I didn't like Iron Maiden I didn't like Rush I mean, there's lots of bands that we can pull, you know, that I didn't know who they were, and then as soon as I discovered them, I was really into them, right? But, you know, again, and that comment doesn't bother me either, but the thing is, it's just funny, you know. I guess again, what was my theory about everything? All this, whatever, all this blah 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 term comes from humans, comes from people. People are the problem. So, all right, I'm gonna let you guys go. I want to go 1 hour and 20 minutes here, so we're at an hour and 13. So I'm gonna let you go, and I will see you on the next video. This one's gonna post probably what's this, a Wednesday video? 76, 77. I think this is a Wednesday video, so I gotta work on Thursday's video tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Nothing's on the horizon, so I'm probably gonna have to deep dive and go into something else. I've still got to make that Rush. Maybe I've talked about Rush a little bit. Maybe I'll do the Rush video tomorrow. I got a lot of work to do too, so I'm gonna have to squeeze that in. I'll have to do not that I do a lot of Rush research, but I want to put some things together to kind of illustrate my Rushness. Okay. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye. Take care.